Hi guys, it's Ashley from Lovely Commotion. Thank you for joining me today. Can you believe that it's almost Christmas? I actually have a last minute activity for you today. If you are teaching next week, like I am, um, you may have exhausted all of your holiday themed activities. And so I want to share with you one of my favorites. It is a read aloud that also has an activity to go with it. And so I want to share that with you. There's also a free printable that I will link in this post as well that can go with it. But I hope you all are doing well. I hope you are staying safe. And I hope you're gearing up for a break. Most of us will have a break around this time, which is very nice to kind of just unwind a little bit and then look forward to the new year with our littles. So if you are in person, this is a great activity. And virtually, it's a little bit harder because we are using the sense of smell, but it may be something that kids can relate to that they have around their house right now. But the book is called The Sweet Smell of Christmas, and it is written by Patricia Scary. And this one in particular has the scratch and sniff in it. And this sweet little story is about a bear who starts smelling all these wonderful smells and knows that it's about time for Christmas because his nose tells him so. And so, like, he'll see his mom baking a pie, and then it has a pie that the kids can smell too. So, like, this is a scratch and sniff one. So, you can scratch the little sticker and sniff it. This one isn't horribly potent. And so if your kids are wearing masks, they may not be able to smell it through those masks. And so the activity that we do with it actually helps because it's a little more potent. So he goes through the story and he learns about these different smells that make him think of Christmas. And I know that I have read some amazing research about how smell can connect us back to some wonderful memories or some like a vacation or things we've done together. And that can definitely happen during the holidays as well. So it's kind of talking about all that. But throughout the book, that sweet little bear, he learns about 6 different smells. And so here they are on the chart here. There's candy cane, pine tree, apple pie, gingerbread, hot cocoa, and orange, because he gets an orange in his stocking at the end. And I can definitely relate to this because my grandmother, who has since passed, got an orange in her stocking when she was a little girl. She loved to tell us that story that during the Great Depression she got an orange in her stocking. And so it may not be something that our kids necessarily can relate to right now, but we can talk about that and about how that was an exciting thing to get in our stocking or in a stocking a ways back. And so what we do is I lay out this mat and we talk about each one. We talk about how they smelled in the book. And I did let my kiddos each take a smell on the scratch and sniff, that's hard to say, scratch and sniff stickers. And I only had 9 that day, so it wasn't too time consuming to let them smell that, but it kind of gave them a basis for the activity we're going to do. A lot of kids have already come into contact with most of these smells. I found the pine tree was one that many of them had not smelled. They knew kind of apple pie was cinnamony. They'd smelled peppermint before. Most of them did not like it. They've definitely smelled orange before. Hot chocolate kind of gave them a run for their money. And we had been talking a lot about gingerbread, and we even did gingerbread 5 senses. So they had already smelled a gingerbread man, so that was familiar to them. But what I did was before our read aloud time, I take a paper sack and I punch kind of some smelling holes in the side, punch them in the side, or you can like fold it like this and punch them in the middle. And then I place an item inside for them to smell that matches one of these. And they absolutely adore this activity. Very, very engaged. And they make guesses and I have them smell them and I take it around. And sometimes I have to shake it a little bit to kind of get the smell going. And they smell it and then I ask them not to tell, just think in your mind and look at the mat and which one do you think it is, and then after everyone's had a turn, they tell me what they think it is. So obviously for candy canes, I hope this doesn't get too rustly in the video. Obviously candy canes for the candy cane smell. If you don't happen to have candy canes at your house or around your school, you could definitely just use peppermint extract and like put that oil a little bit on a cotton ball or something like that. But peppermint, I like to try to bring in as close to the real thing as possible so that they are able to connect to that. Many kids have tried candy canes, obviously gotten them after they visited with Santa if they do that with their family. So candy canes is a pretty simple one. I just buy the little ones, and then I later give them to them too as part of their gift. This one is hot cocoa, and all we had at our house were the pods, but it really is hot cocoa. It says it on there. And I poked a hole in it, stuck it down in the bag. It spilt a little bit, but no big deal. And smelling that. This one kind of confused them a little bit. They were confusing this in gingerbread. And so we took another sniff and just really tried to distinguish what we thought that smell was. If you need to, with students wearing masks, you may have to open the top of the bag and really let them smell, get a big whiff in, because I know that with those masks, it's much harder to smell. So hot cocoa mix, so really any kind. You could even just put it down, just dump it in. And I think that would be, yeah, pretty fragrant. Now, I will say that I, this year, only had white bags. In the past, I've had colored bags. I had some red bags, and that worked way better because the light was shining through the window. And when we got to, let's see, let me find the one we got to here. Yeah, they could see the gingerbread shape through the bag because the sun was shining in the classroom. So I wish I would have had colored bags because it really does work better. But again, we use little gingerbread men. Oh, my assistant Gabby is thinking she wants this cookie. Oh, Gabby. Okay, hold on. Gabby. She was sitting on my lap because she wants to be with me 100% of the time. And so we used little gingerbread cookies. I had bought a bag of these because we used them for experiments. With the gingerbread baby book, we also used it to do our gingerbread 5 senses. And then we also used them as little stamps. I just let them dip them in paint, and they did that. I'm going to give Gabby a little piece because she just thinks she can't live without it. Okay, and then I also had an orange. And that one, they could tell right away. They were like, oh yeah, that's definitely a scent that I've smelled before. And I basically just opened the top of it a little bit so they could get that aroma in there. And then for apple pie, that's kind of a hard one. No, I did not bake an apple pie. I do not have time for that. What I did basically was take the apples. I cut up apples. The rest of them I put in my son's lunch. And I sprinkled just a whole lot of cinnamon on them. And they smelled this. This they got right away, actually, believe it or not. And very fragrant of apples. And I actually put a little bit of lemon on the apples too, just so that they would stay a little fresher. So that kind of helped. But they didn't like the look of this. They thought it looked disgusting when I pulled it out. But I assured them it's just apples and cinnamon. And we were using our sense of smell. And so that's how I did the apple pie, because obviously I'm not going to cook an apple pie and stick it in a bag. If you happen to have some apple pie at home, or you love to bake, then that is a great option for you. Then this one is the pine tree. So we don't have a real tree, and so I could not find a pine branch even though I wanted to for the pine tree here. I had these scent-sicles that were pine scented. They're those little things you can like hang in your tree, and they make your fake tree smell like a real tree. It does the trick because boy, are they strong. And so they were able to pick that out right away. And it was so interesting to see which smells some of them just could not take. I was surprised at how many of my kiddos hated the smell of peppermint. They couldn't stand it. And then this pine smell was very potent as well. But I basically did one by one, and I had them use the mat as kind of a visual of what do you think that smell is? And then they all kind of made their guesses, and then I would open it and reveal it. You could even cut these up and place them in front of the bags that you think they were. And then if two bags smelled the same, you could kind of go back and smell those and try to figure it out, because gingerbread and hot chocolate were definitely very close for them. And I found that interesting. I thought it would be apple pie and gingerbread, but it wasn't. Of course, they could see the gingerbread men through the bag, so that might have been why. So yeah, if you do this activity, try to use colored bags. That works the best. The smell holes work really well. If your students are wearing masks, it's going to be a little more challenging, so you may have to open up that bag. I like to shake them too, because sometimes that helps the aroma come out a little bit more. But this is definitely a fun activity that my kids were incredibly engaged with. The book was awesome, and then this follow-up activity was great to kind of use that sense of smell to make a prediction, a guess on what they thought was inside, and then being able to see what was really in there. It was very exciting when they were correct. They were super excited, lots of cheering that they got it right. So this I will have for you. There's a link in the profile, or sorry, link in the description of this video post, so you can grab this in case you want to do this activity. I found this book on Amazon. You could also check your local library, see if it's there. Obviously the smell may not be as strong, but I was less concerned about that since we were doing the smelling activity to go with it. So I just wanted to share that with you in case you have run out of things to do and you, like me, are getting to see your littles next week as well. And this was just a very fun activity. I even passed it to my colleague teacher so she could do it too. So kind of more bang for the buck. Just pass it on down since you've already prepped all of the items inside. And I had planned on eating the orange when we did it for lunch and just ran out of time. So I was trying not to be wasteful, but this was great activity. So if you have ever tried this or read this book or have this book, drop it in the comments. Let me know if this was something you've done before, because it's been really fun tradition that I do every year with my students. So thank you for joining me. I hope that this was helpful to you and that you have a lovely day. I will not be making a video for next Sunday due to Christmas. I'm going to spend some time with my family, but I'm wishing you the very best, and I hope that you take some time to yourself and just relax. I know that's hard for us to do as teachers and definitely moms, and so I hope that you stay well, and I wish you all the very best, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas break, and I will see you in the new year. See you guys. Bye.